Welcome to Your Business, Your Life with Matt DiFrancesco, your personal financial quarterback. Whether you've had years of success in your business or are just starting out, DiFrancesco Virtual Family Office can help you create a vision for your business, life, and family and guide you toward the fulfillment of that goal. As they say, you can't choose your family, but you can choose your virtual family office. Now, on to the show.
Hello and welcome to Your Business, Your Life with Matt DiFrancesco. Today, Matt has a special guest on the show, and that is Dave Erb from Penn Billiards and Fine Furniture. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Good morning, Eric. How are you doing?
Fantastic.
Good morning, Eric.
Dave, how are you?
I'm wonderful, thanks. And yourself?
Oh, fantastic. It's a beautiful Monday morning, and when we're recording this, and I'm excited to hear what you guys have to talk about. Matt, I've never met Dave before, and I know that you're going to introduce him to the entire audience. How did you guys meet?
Well, actually, Dave and my son and his son were in Cub Scouts together back, this was 17 years ago. And yeah, it was a Tiger Cubs den, and Dave was the den leader. And so we got to know each other, took the kids on a lot of different outings, things like that. And so we got to know each other there. And at the time, he was a pharmaceutical rep. Then he received a promotion and he moved out to the Pittsburgh area, and we kind of lost touch. And what happened was we reconnected on Facebook, and I saw that he owned Penn Billiards and Fine Furniture. Knowing Dave, and he's a quality human being, and know his family, he's a great family, and we share a lot of the same values. I wanted to bring him on to give him a chance to talk a little bit about his business and some of the challenges that he and his wife Jennifer face as family business owners.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy, especially during this time. So I'm really excited to hear what Dave has to say. Dave, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm just going to shut up and let you and Matt talk so I can hear all about it.
Hey, that sounds great, Eric. Thanks.
Perfect. So, Dave, like I said, you went out to Pittsburgh or Natrona Heights. We kind of lost touch, and then all of a sudden, I see you pop up owning Penn Billiards and Fine Furniture. So, first off, tell us a little bit what inspired you to get into that business.
Yeah, Matt. So it's interesting. We've known each other a long time since my son was a little guy, and now he's graduated from college and he's working as a chemist for PPG. So time certainly has a way of moving, whether you want it to or not.
Isn't that
the
truth?
But I took a promotion to come out to Pittsburgh, and I was a district sales manager at the time with a company called Novartis, and a wonderful organization, and worked with them through 2012. And it was at that time they were kind of reshuffling the decks, and I had some options and opportunities, but required some significant moves. So at that time, I stepped out of corporate America briefly, and my wife and I did our first foray into small business, and we had purchased some beer distributors and car washes.
Oh.
Well, I quickly realized that most likely was not going to be the end game for me. And I was coaching hockey all along, and happened to be coaching with a gentleman that is the head of a really large financial firm and had some friends, obviously, in that world. Mm-hmm. I went back kind of into the corporate world for a family fund, a private equity company out of Philadelphia, and I headed that. It was a medical device and home medical device company, and I headed that business up for multiple years. And now to get to the point of your question, I was able to walk away from the fund. It was closing, and my time and my work was really about done with that. So I went to Penn Billiards to purchase a pool table for my own home. And in the course of being there, I said to the folks, "Are you interested in selling this business?" Because as we walked in, it wasn't what I had seen in the commercials my whole life for Penn Billiards. So I was taken back maybe a step or two. And at the time, they said, "No, we're not selling. We're just in the process to begin remodeling." Mm-hmm. Well, it was about a week and a half later, my phone rang from the owner of then Penn Billiards with the question, "Were you serious about purchasing Penn?" And that's really how the genesis began back in 2000, and that was 2014 that we stepped into the world. So.
That's fascinating. It's kind of amazing how God leads us in on the certain path, and we're not quite sure where it leads us, but we look back and say, "Wow, I see how this all kind of fit together."
Yeah, I went from selling pills to pole balls. It's definitely a very different world for sure.
Oh, that's exactly right. So tell us a little bit about West Penn Billiards and Fine Furniture. What services do you sell? What do you sell? What services do you offer to the public?
Yeah, well, so Matt, let me kind of walk back to what my wife Jennifer and I had done with West Penn, which is we took a look when we took over the business at our product lines, and we certainly looked at where the market was going and what Jennifer and I had a comfort level in selling to the public. And we did a strict remodeling of the brands there, and I'm proud to say now, as of 2020, that over 95% of our store is 100% made in the United States product for everything that we offer, from pool tables, shuffleboards, patio furniture, fire pits, bar stools, bars,
Right.
and many, many other product lines that we have to offer.
That's awesome.
With that, it gives us kind of an ability to really drive that custom look and opportunity in your home. What you can't get when we import stuff is generally it's available in one or two finishes, one or two sizes, and you're kind of locked into that. So if you've ever looked on Wayfair or you've ever looked on some of these websites, you have very limited choice. Mm-hmm. And what we found from our clientele is the reason our business has grown quite significantly year over year is our ability to build a custom room for these folks. And, our clients have come back time and time again. In fact, we've been able to yield a little of our advertising because the word of mouth advertising for us has exploded.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I think when you can provide a customized solution to somebody, that really that sets you apart from any competition that you might have.
True. And I also think, Matt, when you deal with companies that are, I don't want to call them local, but we'll call them local to the United States. If you look at our warranties across brands, when you can buy a pool table or a shuffleboard or a bar stool that has a lifetime warranty, and that's not the China version of a lifetime, that is a true lifetime. That is a significant security blanket for someone wanting to invest in that type of product line.
Well, exactly. And I would think somebody who's investing in a family room or game room, I mean, they want to have it kind of fit into their lifestyle and personality. And I think being able to customize that solution for them is really a great selling point.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. And, I know we're friends on Facebook, and I think you've evaluated or gone through my Facebook page for West Penn Billiards. And when you take a look through there, we have thousands of images now put up of game rooms that have been custom made. And Matt, we don't only do individual homes. We've done some very prominent businesses, not only in Pennsylvania, but in Ohio, in West Virginia, and in Maryland. One of the most notable, kind of the most interesting jobs we had done is Uber's headquarters here in Pittsburgh had come to us with some pretty specific requests. Now, we've signed documentation that we wouldn't share photographs from that job, but I can tell you that was an amazing install that we had done and put in there.
I can imagine, because I know they do offer those type of benefits to employees to be able to, relax, play whether pool, ping pong, do those type of things. My niece's husband works for Uber. So that's pretty fascinating that you've been able to outfit that whole thing. So I saw on your website too that you do actual designs of the family rooms for the clients. Is that true?
We do, yeah. So we invested in some software that if you bring the dimensions of the rooms that you have in, we have an ability to build that room for the client while we're sitting there, so they can visualize and physically see what's going to take place prior to us putting it in the room. So it takes a little bit of the guesswork out of building the room, and it really shows them spatially how things will work. So it has definitely been a nice feature.
Yeah, that's definitely when people. I know my wife was an interior designer way back in the days when the kids were in Tiger Cubs, and nice. That's it amazes me watching her because she's got a real gift and how she can see a room, and she'll come to me all the time and says, "Oh, we could do this and this and this." I don't see it. I really don't see it. So I think to have something that you can provide a visualization for the person is really helpful.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think my wife and I laugh. She's a very visual person and can put together a room without needing the computer system. However, I
Right.
very much need the computer system to achieve that look. So it's kind of funny.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? So, well, we're all given different gifts, I guess. So,
True.
who works there currently? Like, I know you mentioned to me about your wife Jennifer works there. What does she do?
So my wife Jen is, she's we'll call her partner in everything. I often tell folks she's the true brains behind the business. I'm just the guy that can sell things. So my wife Jenny takes care of everything from scheduling our installs with the customers and making sure our crews are going where they need to go. She interfaces with a lot of the vendors when we need to do certain products. So she really watches our inventory for different things. And she's definitely the A player in the team for sure.
That's great. That's great. So, and how many employees do you have?
We have 10 total employees. So we have a salesman, a couple different folks that do some part-time sales work for us. And really the pride of our organization is our installation teams and technicians. We are very fortunate, Matt, of all the businesses I've been involved with in my life, and from corporate America down to now the very small family business, the crew of guys that we utilize to do our installations are bar none. They're just ridiculously awesome. They get it done time and time again. We get phone calls unpropagated by my team from customers to want to talk about how great that our teams are when they're in their homes.
That's
so
awesome.
That always stands up to me is the value of the organization isn't me. It's really them, because my average time in a home, or not my time, but my tech's time, is between 2 to 4 hours. So they're spending some healthy time with the clients. So it's very gratifying.
That's awesome. And I actually did a podcast a few weeks ago about the team and how important that is. And one of the big challenges, I think, especially when you've got good employees, is keeping them and finding ways to be able to provide the benefits for them, to be able to make sure that because that's the biggest challenge I've run into with business owners, is finding good employees. There's a lot of bodies that are out there, but there's very few good ones.
Yeah, Matt, I can't disagree. And I've always said that I believe it was either Bush or Reagan that had a motto on their desk that they will always accept the results of their office, but it's the people that they've surrounded themselves with that have been the true tells of their success. And,
Exactly.
from all the different books I've read in my life and everything, my wife and I are true believers that, we believe we get rewarded when we treat people right. And I've always used the premise that I will always treat another human being the way that I would expect and I would choose to want to be treated. And we do that with our employees. I mean, they are truly like family to us. And that has been true for me in pharmaceutical sales, to medical device sales, to being in a beer distributor, to being in a billiards and furniture business. People are your key asset, period.
That's a great point. And I think, any business owner that's listening to this podcast needs to take that to heart, because it is about the people. And, having those people, the better that you treat them, the better results they're going to produce for your business and for your life. So, now, Dave, one of the things that kind of inspired me was, I was kind of seeing not only yours, but a number of different business owners' thoughts, especially given the pandemic and COVID. I just want to talk about some of the challenges you faced and maybe how you're looking toward the future to maybe adapt the way that you do business.
Yeah, so Matt, obviously that is the hottest buzzword. I don't even know if we want to call it a buzzword right now, but
Right.
Let's call it a beyond paradigm change. And I can now speak to being open for 2 days. We were by whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure it's a law or a role, but the individual that holds the seat of governor in our state said, well, let's go back to business operations in Allegheny County. And my business is actually located right outside of Allegheny in Washington County.
Right.
But we started last Friday. So we had Friday and Saturday, and we never are open on Sundays except holiday time. Friday was actually, when I compared it to a year ago Friday, and I did a run rate of 52 Fridays. Friday was one of our strongest business days on a Friday that we've ever had. Wow. In fact, it was second to that of Black Friday in 2018 was our biggest day ever.
Okay.
I'm sorry, not 18, 19.
Right.
And so we were highly optimistic coming out of Friday.
Right.
We walked into Saturday to look out to the busiest throughway of Washington County, which is Route 19, right outside of Peters Township, to spans of 20 minutes without seeing a car go up or down the highway.
Really?
We totaled 4 customers that day with a very low ring rate on the register.
Okay.
So we had a lot of phone calls on Sunday and some on yesterday that talking about, hey, we're going to come in Monday. So obviously my wife is down there steering the ship right now, and I'll be hopefully down there soon. But we did have a lot of folks that called that wanted to come in today. So I think we're going to really gauge to see the comfort level of people and their receptivity to coming back out into the public. As a business owner, I think we're challenged from multiple capacities. Mm-hmm. First, I paid, we talked about good people. I kept every one of my employees on payroll the entire time we've been off.
That's awesome.
So they've gotten their paydays so that their life wasn't disrupted. And I could tell you how thankful and how many messages we got from them. I did have one employee that decided to take our money and run. So the day we announced we were going to come back to work, this was a new hire that we just hired a few weeks ago or a few months ago. I even kept that individual on payroll, and the day we were returning to work, he said that he's not returning. So he got a $3,000 bonus, I guess, that year, or $4,000.
Oh, well.
Yeah, but I mean, all in all, I think, the challenges now that we face moving forward is how do the new customer paradigm of getting them comfortable to come back out. Mm-hmm. But like my wife and I had said, we drove past Lowe's and we drove past Walmart and, we've driven past Target, and all of their parking lots are packed. Right. All of those stores were packed. So I'm hopeful that people are going to want to come back to a small business where they aren't going to have those concerns or worries about having 1,000 people 2 feet from them. Right. Our store is very easy, and we are a very niche store. So we don't ever have thousands of people in our stores unless I have Evgeny Malkin there doing a signing. Outside of that, it's not overly crazy.
Right. Well, do you also think that maybe because you're not in a necessarily like a consumer staples type of business? I mean, family rooms are, that's something that usually is, I don't want to necessarily consider it a luxury, but it's not something that's essential. And maybe people, especially having been out of work or being business owners and having their businesses be shut down, that maybe they're they would ease into maybe looking at doing a family room right away.
Matt, my wife and I wholeheartedly believe that. We said our standard customer is the, junior executive in their early 30s to 70 years old is our standard market that have dispensable income. Mm-hmm. And we sat back and looked at a lot of those individuals. It was my wife's best friend that actually made the comment. She goes, Dave, your market is still working. They're just working from home. So imagine the money that they're amassing right now because they're not going out to eat. They're not spending money on kids' sports. They're not going shopping. They're not getting their hair and nails done. They're not going out to their local bars to have a few beers. They're not going to the country club. They have dispensable cash more than ever. And I will tell you that through the COVID shutdown, we did some one-on-one appointments with customers, and I can tell you that we had some customers spend big dollars with us. We had some days and some customers that came through that honestly saved that time frame. There was one customer we had in the month of April that spent almost a 6-digit number with us. Wow. And, not only saved April, but they probably made up for March and will cover May. And they weren't the only customer that really did some sizable purchasing. So
right,
we're optimistic for sure.
Good. Yeah, and I think those people that have vision, again, I talked about this in another previous episode, and I do this with my business owners, is talk to them about utilizing, basic financial principles that you'd use in your life. Put first 10% away, building up those reserves. Those people that have the foresight to do those things, when we have events like this, aren't necessarily as their lives are not as disrupted, and they can resume normal life pretty quickly. It's the people that have not planned and prepared that tend to run into the big challenges in these type of environments.
No question. I would completely agree with that.
Well, we're getting close to our time. So, Dave, if anybody out there was looking to put together a family room or game room, what would you recommend the steps that they talk to get in touch with you?
So obviously to get in touch with me is extremely easy. You can always call our store at 724-743-3720. My website is extremely useful in starting to gather your dreams and your requests to take a look at all of our product line, and that would be at West Penn Billiards. That's WestPennBilliards.com. And you can always email us at info@westpennbilliards.com, and we respond to emails, phone calls, web inquiries, both day and night. We've also recently turned on, right before COVID, the ability to text us, because a lot of folks choose to enjoy that communication method, and they can text us at 724-743-3720 as well.
That's great, and for anybody listening out there, the website is fantastic. I'll tell you a little story. Last week, I was talking to a client of mine down in Florida, and he was telling I could hear stuff going on in the background. I said, "What do you got going on?" He goes, "Oh, we're putting a pool table in." And I'm like, oh, I wish I would have known. I could have sent him over to Dave. And I actually sent him the website. And he started beating himself up because the pool tables that West Penn Billiards had were so much nicer than the one he purchased. And he got a nice table. I forget it was a Brunswick. I know that much. I can't remember. I have it written down somewhere. But anyway, so if you go onto his site, check it out. He's got beautiful pool tables, bar stools, just all the furniture that's on there is really amazing. So I would recommend everybody to go and check that out.
And Matt, I can't thank you enough as a business owner in these times. Any additional share of voice that we can get out in front of customers. It's truly an awesome service that you're putting together, and doing this for me, unpropagated by me asking you to do that, is something phenomenal. It shows the character and integrity that you have as a person. And I'm going to send you something I would love for you to read. And you may have already read it, but it's Extreme Ownership. It was written by, have you read that book by chance?
No, I haven't. That's one I haven't.
All right, so I'm going to send that off to you. And any of the other business folks that you have, if they're in a leadership position, I can tell you I've read lots of books. That is the most powerful one I've read yet.
That's awesome. Well, I certainly appreciate that, Dave. It's my pleasure to have you on. I want to support small businesses as much as I can. And I think, having you on to be able to tell your story helps you, and it helps me to just kind of give hope to those that listen to this podcast. So I want to thank you for
my hope too.
No problem. So I want to thank you for being on, and good luck to you. I'm sure we'll be in touch here as we move on down the road.
Matt, fantastic. Thanks again so much.
No problem.
Guys, this was fantastic. Dave, so nice to meet you. My heart is attuned with Matt on this. I love to hear from small business owners as a profession. Besides working with Matt and podcasting and things, I'm a coach and consultant for small business owners, and I just love it. I love seeing the successes, and I love watching you guys put puzzles together, right? Because that's a lot of what you do with your business and with your employees. What an honorable thing to do to be able to pay them through this time. And again, that you'll be blessed tenfold for that action. Even the young man who took advantage of it and then ran, you'll be blessed for that as well. We know that. Thank you so much for doing what you do. I'm looking forward to taking a look at your website just to peruse those pictures. I mean, I love to get, because I'm one of those guys, just like you said, I can't visualize spaces in my room or my backyard. My wife and I were in our backyard yesterday, and I built a fire pit, which is great. But now she's talking about all these other things, and I'm just looking around going, you want to do what now? I can't visualize it. So
I know where you can get some nice stuff for that.
Some nice pits.
Yeah, some nice pits. Yeah. I'm going to definitely need some furniture upgrades.
You should have seen, it was interesting because we started with this new line, a guy that hand makes these custom fire pits. They're unbelievable.
Really?
And I didn't have any suitable wood to burn in fire, and we wanted to have some of our close friends over. My son wanted to have some of his friends over. So we had to go buy some firewood, and we did it like last minute. I found a guy on Facebook Marketplace selling a truckload of wood for relatively inexpensive. But as we drove, it was the most eerie scene that I can recall, that every backyard had fire going in it. As far as we drove, we went 18 miles, and I don't think we ran into a yard without flames coming out of the back of it, and it was an uneasy feeling, to say the least.
Well, apparently everybody knows where to get that firewood, so
yeah, exactly.
Guys making money over there, so that's great.
Everybody's been cooped up for so long; they needed to get out. So
that's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Oh, man. Well, guys, thank you so much for being here and doing this podcast. Matt, thank you for bringing Dave on. And I also want to say one more thank you to the listener. Thank you for listening to Your Business, Your Life with Matt DiFrancesco. If you have not subscribed to the podcast yet, please click the subscribe now button below. This way, when Matt comes out with a new podcast, it'll show up directly on your listening device. Makes it much easier to share these podcasts with your friends and family. Again, thanks for listening today. For everyone at DiFrancesco Virtual Family Office, this is Eric Johnson reminding you to live your best day every day. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Your Business, Your Life podcast. Click the subscribe button below to be notified when new episodes become available. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of DiFrancesco Virtual Family Office. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investment, legal, or tax advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or another qualified professional with any questions you may have regarding your business or personal planning. DiFrancesco Financial Concierge, LLC, doing business as DiFrancesco Virtual Family Office, is a registered investment advisor. Registration with the United States Securities and Exchange Commission or any state securities authority does not imply a certain level of skill or training.